All right, thank you for joining us this evening. We want to dissect what has been happening within the political scene. Thanks, first of all, to my colleague Zubeida, who's actually set the pace for us in terms of news making the headlines. So we get into the discussion about some of the political stories that we've witnessed today and part of the last 2 weeks and the beginning of this year, and that is touching on President William Ruto. His visit within the Nyanza region, a region that has been termed as a stronghold of the opposition leader Raila Odinga. And this is because over years, every time the opposition leader is vying for a political seat, he has always gained a favorable number of total votes count for the presidential elections. That was back in 2013, 2017, and 2022 when he vied again. And so we just want to review the president's visit to Nyanza region. Has it rubbed the opposition the wrong way, with some saying that the president is trying to make an inroad within the Nyanza region? This discussion, I'm not alone in studio. I am having this discussion with Ishmael Nyaribo seated on my immediate left. Thank you for joining us tonight on KTN News. Not a new face here. And of course,
it's been long though.
It's been long though. Yeah, but this is home. It's where you belong.
Thank you.
Where we discuss political matters, trying to explain to us what we need to understand in terms of the political alignments here in the country. And seated next to Ishmael Nyaribo is Alenga Torostad. I got it correctly. I kept on asking him, Torostad, is it Torostad? It's not Torostad, but I got it correctly. If I'm not wrong, Alenga Torostad is also another political analyst, just trying to explain to us, you know, should the opposition be worried? Or are they overreacting over this? And of course, joining us virtually later on will be Salim Odeny, another political analyst, but joining us virtually from Migori County. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on KTN News. But first, I want us to have a look at President William Ruto's stay in Homa Bay, where he has warned Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya coalition party leaders and the supporters against creating hostilities in the country, saying it scares both local and international investors who may have an interest in the country's economic space. Ruto was speaking 2 weeks ago, actually a week ago, during his day 2 tour while in Homa Bay County, when he said that kills resulting from Azimio demos had led to destruction of property and loss of lives, scaring away potential investors. Let's have a look at this report that was filed by Bramwell Bwire.
It was day 2 of President William Ruto's visit in Nyanza region, Homa Bay County, playing host to the head of state. Speaking when he visited Victoria Fish Farm in Suba South, the president said his efforts to woo foreign investors to invest in the country were being derailed by political protests after every election cycle.
Mimi nataka wakati mimi natafuta waegezaji, sisi tunaweka amani katika taifa letu la Kenya, ndio waegezaji wakuje hapa so that we can grow our country. No investment is going to come to Kenya if we are violent people, if we are people engaged in destruction of property and destruction of business. We want to encourage people to come and invest in our country, but we must also, as the people of Kenya, make sure that we are a peaceful nation and we are a people that appreciates property, appreciates business, so that we don't destroy people's property and business. Otherwise, we are going to lose investment.
The head of state, who also opened a UDA party office in Homa Bay County, calling on political parties to shun ethnicity and embrace a national outlook. His statements coming after the endless calls by UDA SG Cleophas Malala to have Ford Kenya and ANC folding their parties.
We are going to make sure that we remove and we eliminate the politics of ethnicity in Kenya and replace it with the politics of political parties, politics that have an ideology, an agenda, a plan, and a manifesto for the transformation of our country.
Sasa hivi UDA, according to the Registrar of Political Parties, UDA imeandikisha wanachama 136,000 people hapa.
Ruto, who also defended Nyanza governor's decision to collaborate with the national government to bring development in respective counties, has implored on the opposition to practice party democracy.
Vile umesema
Mimi kama gavana Wanga ni gavana ambaye amechaguliwa katika chama cha ODM na mimi ni mtu wa baba. Lakini katiba imeandika serikali ya chini ifanye kazi na serikali ya juu.
Bwana Ruto, you can make 1,000 visits here. Even 1,000,000 visits. But unless and until you go through one Raila Amolo Odinga, it is all futile.
Tazama uone watu wa Nyanza wako katika UDA. Funguka macho, ile maendeleo rais ameleta sasa wamekubali kuja kwa chama.
President William Ruto's visit to Homa Bay County in Nyanza region aims at positively impacting livelihoods here. Whether this will turn into votes for Ruto and his UDA party, it's something that remains to be seen. Bramwell Bire, KTN News.
Bramwell Bire, thank you for that report. And just where my colleague Bramwell Bire has left it at is where we pick it up from. And I'll start with you, Nyaribo. You know, the president seems to be quoting the Nyanza region. Should it worry the Azimio camp?
Worry is a strong word, I think. They
Okay,
shouldn't
not
worry. Shouldn't worry anybody, but should it concern the Azimio again that their stronghold is probably being infiltrated and, you know, stuff like that? I'm not choosing the question for myself, but I think, you see, there's a big, huge difference between the Nyanza region and, say, the Eastern region and the Mount Kenya region in terms of political beliefs and in terms of priorities. What do the Nyanza people view as their priority? They look at their leaders with a semblance of dogmatic beliefs. You know, they trust this is our leader. It does not matter what he does. It does not matter if he doesn't give us enough goodies. This is our leader. That is different if you look at the people in Central Province. I mean, who has the money? Who has the, I mean, who has the power? That's how they look at it. So if you look at the people of Nyanza and ask why they actually continuously follow Raila Odinga, is it because Raila Odinga has taken to them so much goodies? I don't think so. But if you look at the people in Central, so the point I'm trying to say is there's a distinct, remarkable differences between the people of this region and the other region. So yeah, the political bigwigs should be concerned that William Ruto is not like Daniel Arap Moi, because William Ruto has been in opposition. He understands opposition politics, and now he's president, and then he has energy. He's a strategist. So yes, by going there, of course, the kind of people he has quoted already, you with tremendous respect to their political career, they are not in the level of James Orengo, in the level of Raila Odinga, in the level of Anyang' Nyong'o. I mean, by their own right, the Owalos and Ochieng and whoever, they have a right, of course, to develop their career. But whether actually those can be used to woo the people of Nyanza is a totally, you saw Tuju. He really tried, but he couldn't create an impact until they were together again.
So,
with Raila
what you're
Odinga.
telling us is even the people who have purportedly left the Azimio camp that they used for vying for the last elections, they've left the Azimio camp and gone to the Kenya Kwanza camp. It doesn't have a lot of impact. You
see, this is Jalango, for example. I mean, with tremendous respect again to his political career development, he is Jalango. That is, he is himself trying to fight for a place in the political space. So even before he goes to the people to convince them of anything, he's got to build himself and build a network within the Azimio team so that he's seen as an individual of himself. Right. And the same with my learned friend, learned senior Professor Ojenda. I mean, he can be anything within the legal fraternity. But when you talk about going to convince people to follow the policies created by William Ruto, as good as they may be, without having the blessing of Raila Odinga, I think honestly, that is a waste of time.
All right.
As for now.
All right. And to restart, you know, it's quite interesting for Nyaribo. He's like, it shouldn't be of a major concern to the bigwigs within Azimio from the Luo Nyanza region. But then, that, according to what I'm seeing, the picture that has been portrayed by the Azimio wing, it may look a bit different from what Nyaribo is saying, because the last time the president was there, we also saw the Azimio camp were also in the Luo Nyanza region. The president is having his function there. The Azimio team are also having, you know, the team is also having its own political camp there.
Thanks, Brenda, for welcoming me to your show tonight, and just a good evening to our viewers. I think I would want to associate myself with thinking that this should indeed worry the Azimio bigwigs, and particularly the politicians from Luo Nyanza who have been strongly behind Raila for a very long time. My reason for this is there is a moment that the Luo nation is going through, though it is being experienced from a latent perspective, covertly so. It must be understood that many are looking at Raila right now, and you're possibly looking at the edge factor, and you're doing mathematics for 2027. He'll be, I think, about 82 years old, and you're looking at his competitor at that time, if it is, if he's going to run for the seat, then internally the Luo people begin to think, this is the only person we thought for the last 30 years would take us to that promised land, and it is becoming evident that time is thinning out for him. And now, there is now some sort of fear in the people that have been working with him. None of them can walk past him and come and say, here I offer myself. So there's that level of silence. The Orengos of today cannot say, I think I want to take over from Mzee.
Is it because of lack of mentorship?
I think it's really lack of, it's not really lack of mentorship, but what Council said, that aspect of it is not easy to please the Luo community in terms of, I want to do this for you. They will put their hopes in someone, and they have their own criteria they use. So it is difficult for someone to come fearing that I might even get a backlash from the entire community, and it becomes even much difficult for me. So then this silent space can actually, and is already being utilized by the president. So he's utilizing that to come and tell the people, hey guys, I am here. You know, I am already there where you always want that person to be able to articulate your aspirations as a community. And that is why when you look at the specific projects he was commissioning, whether they had been started a long time ago or they still have a significance, because he's trying to carry a community.
But you know, one of those projects is what Kisumu governor raised a concern about, you know, just making it straight that this is not a national government project.
Yes, indeed. But you see, Brenda, for politics, it's all about the optics. A normal person on the streets is saying, the president has finally come to us. And then now what Dr. William Ruto is trying to do is, he's trying to make the Luo people now believe he worked with the Gikuyus. We are expecting him to do these projects there, but he has come to us.
All right.
And that now starts working on the psychology of the people slowly by slowly. So if you give him another 4 years, if you look at what he did in this first visit he went to Nyanza, then you extrapolate for the next 4 years, it could be dangerous.
Right. So,
I just don't want to miss out on the positive aspect of what the president is doing in Luo Nyanza, definitely. Apart from looking at it politically, you understand very well that the youngsters coming up now within the Luo Nyanza, they honestly don't want to be associated with the violence and the stone throwing alone. They want to be understood as citizens who are progressive. They are people who are, who love education, they want development. So that when the president goes there, even without emphasizing, we don't want people to destroy property, he's not actually speaking to the Luo young people. He's speaking about the way their leader has always handled the election losses. So that, I think, should be looked at positively, that we want the Luo Nyanza to be among the rest of the city, to be part of the country that is progressive. so that you don't look at them separately and tag them with the wrong names, because that is not where the Luo, educated people today, that's not where they are. And that is why you saw the rebel MPs are standing strong and firm that we must show the country that there is another face to us. It's not a question of we are throwing stones. And I think that is the positive aspect. But whether then the president will use those to change the narrative completely to his favor, that's where I was saying that's a tall order. And I think the former prime minister must be engaged and involved at all the stages. Yes.
All right. And I want us to have a look at this story, which will base my second question, where President William Ruto, before he toured, he began his tour in actually in Homa Bay. It's a region that has supposedly been termed as Raila Odinga's backyard, which will be actually, it was his first tour in the year. Let me just rectify that. The first tour that the president did was in January this year, after the elections. He went to Nyanza, and the president began that tour by launching a 5,000-unit housing project in Homa Bay County 3 months after he made the pledge. And let's have a look at that report by KTN political affairs reporter Emmanuel Tu, who tells us why leaders in Luo Nyanza welcome Ruto's visit and called on him to revive industries in the region on more job creation opportunities.
We are telling Dr. William Ruto that many have tried that path you are following, but we, the Luo community, we have only one leader, and that leader is Raila Amolo Odinga. If you think you can outsmart Raila in Luo land and then wait for the results, I'm telling you in daylight that you are wasting your time. The rejects you are walking in Luo land will never be respected because they hold no value to the Luo community. So when you come to Kisumu and you fail to mention about Moroni Mamboleo Road, and you fail to mention Koru Soin Dam, then what has brought you to Kisumu? What has brought you to Kisumu if you can't mention those two critical projects? The Kabonyo Kanyagwal aquaculture whatever is a project being funded by Hungary. As we speak, Parliament has not allocated even a single cent for that project. So, therefore, what is the role of the national government in that project?
The resources that the president has expended, because for a president to visit a region, a planned visit of such a nature, the kind of security, intelligence, and even chairing a cabinet meeting in this region is quite expensive than launching a 1 billion project, fishery project at Kabonyo. Much more expensive than launching an administration block.
ODM will never win Ugenya as long as I'm running there. Now, you know what has happened in Ugenya. I'm telling you this today, that if you're alive in 2027, God gives us life, and we're going to elections. This time around, there's nothing about, this or that, whether Raila is running or not. I, as David Ochieng, will support William Ruto for the presidency. My party will go out of its way. We will run candidates in the whole of Nyanza for MP, for MCAs, supporting William Ruto, broad daylight, without, trying to do games here and there. Because we must liberalize the politics of this place. We cannot have a place that is so balkanized that when President comes to Luo Nyanza, it's wrong, it's a tourist. But when Raila goes to Central, he's a Democrat. This has to change.
And he just picked my mind in Yaribo, David Ochieng, who was once seen as ODM, left, served as a member of parliament, as an independent candidate, 2022 elections, joined Azimio, was elected, used his political party's ticket, but under the Azimio coalition, again left, and is now, quoting the Kenya Kwanza side. And he's picked my mind what I'd wanted to ask. Why is it that when the president is going to a stronghold like the Luo Nyanza, Turkana, Kisii, Mombasa, Raila Odinga's stronghold, it raises a lot of eyebrows politically. But when Raila Odinga moves to those areas that have been termed as Kenya Kwanza region, it's cool. Nothing to talk about.
Radito, when we started the show, I just mentioned that the people in the western bloc of the country and the people of this other bloc, with tremendous respect to their cultural, ethical, and societal backgrounds, we have differences in how we think. You see, the president has gone to launch to launch a project, isn't it? And the people of Kisumu, Nyanza, you can see, they are really trying to question him. They are propping him. They are like, why are you launching this? You know, other people would be like, we appreciate you are launching this project, but Your Excellency, now we have another 3. You know, so that difference, I think, is what also causes the differences you see even in the political arena. So I think that with time, since the president is a little bit, is experienced. If you look at his background in the opposition, and he says clearly, I understand Raila Odinga is my brother, and I think there are many issues happening behind the scenes, trying really to come together and try to move the country forward. So I think these are the differences we should try and minimize, even as media, and try to encourage people that you have 2 roads, but you need 6. So
when
the best thing you do.
The media, you saying, Yaribo, that we are reading beyond what has been given out by these political leaders?
I think this is subjective to me, but I think that the media can decide actually to give airtime to certain issues, certain values, because fundamentally we want to build the nation. We don't want to reduce Nyanza again to negative opinion or tags. We want what is said in Mombasa and Murang'a to be attributed to the people in Homa Bay, Migori, and Kisumu, and all other parts of the nation. That is my thesis. That's my position.
And on that note, allow us to take a short commercial break. And when we come back, I'll be picking the mind of Tourist Had about, the president's statement when he was in Siaya recently, when he said that, when Raila became the prime minister, he was there, and Raila has now seen him as a president. What did the president's statement mean? So we pick his mind after the short commercial break.